thank you so much for joining me back. Hey friends, it's Moose and thank you so much for joining me back here. Today we're going to talk about some popular books that I have not read. Some of them I kind of maybe will read, and then other ones I kind of know that I won't. Let me just preface by saying that if you have read these books and you like them, that is awesome. I'm so happy for you. If I don't plan on reading them, it's nothing against you, and it's nothing against your reading tastes. Our reading tastes are just different. Maybe you can change my mind. Maybe you can convince me to read it, but let me just say that. Nothing against you. These are just my thoughts on these books so far. First up, we have a Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I've seen a lot of people rave about this one and a lot of people like it. It's just not something that sparks my interest. I have branched out more here recently in the genres that I read, but I mostly stick to fantasy and romance, and I've recently branched out into thrillers. I think this one technically is a thriller, but I think it's YA. And I've outgrown YA a little bit, so this one I don't think I'm going to read, but I know a lot of people love it. Next up I have one that is a little shocking to me to even say this. I have The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. Saying I haven't read it is not shocking. Saying that I kind of maybe want to read it is a little shocking because I'm pretty sure this is smut heavy. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I know it's a romance book. And I know that a lot of people love it, and I don't know, I just kind of want to know what the hype is about this one. I want to know if it's worth the hype. So I do have this one saved to I think on Kindle Unlimited or something. I have it saved somewhere on one of my reading apps that I maybe want to get to at some point. Next up, I have The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think is who wrote this one. I read a lot of this one. I actually listened to this one on audiobook and DNF'd it. I was bored and not interested. I don't know. It kind of reads like a historical fiction, but contemporary fiction. I don't know. It was not interesting to me. This genre is not for me, I don't think. And so I DNF'd it. But I know a lot of people love it. But I didn't finish it. Next I have Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Again, I just don't think that this genre, this type of book is for me. I did try listening to this one as well. I don't even think I got an hour into it, maybe 30 minutes as an audiobook, and I was bored. I need some action, I need something going on, and this one was not that. Maybe some stuff happens later. I'll probably never find out. I don't really anticipate giving this one another try. Next up I have one that I might read. I have Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi, maybe is how you say her name. I have seen this one everywhere. Book Talk, Bookstagram, Booktube, everywhere, and everyone seems to love it. So I want to know what the hype is about. I think this one, I don't know much about any of these. Let me just preface with that. But I also never know much about what I'm reading. I like to kind of go in a little blind when I read. I think this one is like a dystopian, romance, dystopian, I don't know. I think it's something dystopian-ish. So I like dystopians. I like romance. I do think this one is maybe a little spicy from what I've seen, but that's about all I know. And again, I want to know what the hype is about, so I might give this one a chance. Next, They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I thought about reading this one, and then I don't know, something just clicked, and I was like, I don't think it's for you. Again, I don't know. I want to read happy stuff most of the time. I like either happy stuff or action-packed intense stuff, and kind of slow-paced, sad, melodramatic type stuff is not for me. That I have no idea if that's what this one is like, but in my head this is what this one is like. So I know that's just my perception of it with the little knowledge I have of it. So I probably won't read this one. Next up I have one that I might read. I have The Atlas Six. I might read this one. I don't know much about it, really anything. I know it has magic in it. I know it's dark fantasy. I like fantasy, and people like this one. So I might give it a try. I feel like if I read this one though, I would need to read it physically, and that I don't have a lot of time to read physically. I do a lot of my reading as audiobooks recently. So I really dedicate my physical reading to things that I know I will like. And since I'm not completely sure if I would like this one, I don't know that I want to dedicate that time to it. So I don't know. I'm unsure about this one, but I'm open to it. Next up, I have one that I actually own. I have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I bought this one because it's super popular everywhere. And and I wanted to read it. So yes, this one's popular. I haven't read it yet, but I do plan to read it. I even bought it for my TBR shelf. Verity by Colleen Hoover, for multiple reasons. I read one Colleen Hoover book. I read It Ends With Us, and it was fine. But that's about how I felt about it. I don't know. I don't think, again, her genre is for me. I don't know. Again, I like to feel good when I read. And Colleen Hoover's romance books do not do that. They make you feel sad and kind of depressed. And that is not what I'm looking for when I'm trying to read a romance book. So I just don't think that she's for me. This one specifically I've seen everywhere, but my friend, I've had multiple people warn me about trigger warnings for this one. I have 2 children of my own. Kids just have a close place in my heart. If something bad happens to a child, it kind of, I hate to say the word trigger. I don't know. I feel like there's a stigma around that word, but it does. It gets to me a little bit, and I don't want to read it. I've heard that things happen in this one to children. After I had already decided I didn't want to read it, I had a friend who read it and told me the premise of the book, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't read that. So this is a popular one that everybody loves, that a lot of people love, and I will never read. I'm undecided about this one. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I'm pretty positive this is a romance book, but just based on the cover, based on the vibe, I want to say it's kind of like a Colleen Hoover romance book. Like, not a happy one, not one that's going to make you feel good. I think I've heard people say this one made you cry, and that's not what I'm looking for when it comes to romance. So I don't know. I'm open to this one, maybe, but I will have to be in like a specific mood to read this one if I ever pick it up. Next up I have a series, but I'm just going to list the first one. Twisted Love by Anna Hong. Another romance. I'm pretty sure this is smut heavy though. I'm pretty sure this is spice heavy, but everyone raves about it. Everyone loves it. Again, I will have to be in like a certain mood if I ever pick this one up. I'm not a huge smut person. I don't seek that stuff out. It's just not my thing. So I don't know. If like I'm bored and I don't have anything else to read, I might find like an audiobook version of this one. But just to like crave to read this one, to seek it out, I don't know that it will happen. Next up I have one that I don't know how I feel about. I have Mexican Gothic by Sylvia, what's her name? Yeah, Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This one I think is horror. I think it's a horror book, which I always say I don't really like horror. But I have branched out into thrillers lately, and everyone raves about this one. So I'm thinking maybe it might be tolerable for me if I ever want to branch out into horror type stuff. So this one is a maybe. I'm not knocking this one out of the park. I might read this one if I'm ever in like a, I don't know, if I ever get, I don't know, sometimes you get into a rut if you read the same stuff over and over and you just kind of want to change. So if I find that happening anytime soon, I might pick this one up. We'll see. Next up I have one that I've seen mixed reviews about everywhere. Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I read Six of Crows. I read the other one, whatever the second one is. And I liked them at the time, but that was years ago. And I don't know how to say this tactfully. I'm growing out of YA, I think. I'm less interested in that kind of stuff. I want adult fiction, adult romance, adult fantasy, that kind of stuff, and I don't think this is it. And I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about this. People love it or they hate it, and I'm kind of just like not wanting to waste my time with something that I might not enjoy, especially just looking back on Six of Crows. It was good, but I think it's overhyped 100%. I liked it when I read it, but like upon reflection, it's like it wasn't like anything extraordinary. So having thought that about her most popular series, I don't know that I want to read this one that is less popular, if that makes sense. All right, one more. The Invisible Life of Addie Larue by V.E. Schwab. I've never read a Schwab book, so let me just preface with that. But I don't know if I was to read a Schwab book that I would start with this one, because this one has so many mixed reviews. Again, people love it, some people hate it. And I don't know that I want to waste my time on something that I might not love. I don't know a whole lot about this one, but again, if I'm reading, I either want to have fun and I want to feel good, or I want it to be like really intense and action-packed, and I don't think that's what this is. I don't know a whole lot about it, so maybe it's not fair of me to say that, but I don't care. I'm probably not going to read this one, but maybe you'll change my mind. So there we go. Those are some popular books that I have not read yet. Some of them I do plan to read, some of them I never plan to read. Either way, there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe down below and leave a comment. Let me know which of these you've read, which of these you plan to read, if I need to change my mind about some of them maybe, if you have read them or maybe know a little bit more about them and you're like, your synopsis of that was completely wrong. This is what it's actually about. Please let me know. You guys are awesome. I'm so thankful for you, and I'm so blessed to have you here on my channel, and we'll meet back here next time. See ya!